While some e-commerce brands were fighting for scraps last Black Friday, one of our clients actually managed to pull in over $729,000 in total sales at a 4.7x return on ad spend. And no, this isn't just some fake screenshot. And no, this isn't some kind of unicorn brand that just received millions of dollars in funding for us to scale. This was quite honestly a pretty unknown brand that we helped absolutely dominate one of the biggest shopping weekends of the year. And today I'm going to show you exactly how we did it, step by step, the exact strategies we used to ultimately generate over $700,000 in sales in a single 4-day period. So if you're ready to see what is possible when you execute a Black Friday strategy properly, make sure you stick around all the way into the end of this video, because I'm about to show you how to turn the biggest shopping weekend of the year into the biggest payday for you and your brand. All right, so first things first, when it comes to actually executing and having an incredible Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, you have to be prepared. If you are not prepared and you do not have some kind of timeline set in place for you to actually make Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend a success, you are not going to be able to generate the types of numbers that I just showed you. So at our agency, we actually already started all of our Q4 prep back in August. However, with that said, if you're still watching this video now, you at least are going to be able to prepare your brand for Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend, and ultimately the rest of Q4. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is the specific dates and the options that you have when it comes to running a Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale. Essentially, as a brand, you have two options of what you want to do. Option number one is to run lead generation campaigns in early November to get contact information and leads that you can then sell to. Or option number two is going to essentially be starting your sale early. Now, the reason why it is important to make sure you take the time to actually plan out exactly what you want to do for your Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale, or basically for all of November, is because you're going to be able to actually make those days that much more significant. Okay. And so if you are not prepared and you just launch a sale, say on Black Friday, sure, you're going to do well. But the difference between doing $60,000 or $70,000 a day, which that client could have easily done, compared to doing the 250 that we did, was just a matter of planning and ultimately being prepared. So to show you guys what we actually did for that brand, the first thing that we did is we actually ran a lead generation campaign inside of Facebook to ultimately prepare for our VIP sale. Now, the Black Friday lead gen campaign that we ran was simply just lead form ads inside of Meta that ultimately said, sign up for our VIP exclusive deals. There's going to be limited access and a limited supply. And essentially, we were just running lead generation ads natively on Facebook to collect contact information. Now, I'd highly recommend that you do this for your brand if you have above a 15 or 20% returning customer rate, because not only will you get existing customers to sign up to this list to buy more, you're also going to know that, hey, customers are worth a little bit extra to you. So just collecting these leads, even if they don't purchase on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they're obviously still leads for you to contact and continue to market and sell to. With that said, if you're just kind of more of a one and done product, I wouldn't really consider doing a lead generation campaign. That said, you can totally try it if you want to just copy the exact strategy that we did. But in this instance, I would just recommend that unless you have an LTV or a product that people can buy over, I would maybe hold off on doing a lead generation campaign. So again, with this lead generation campaign, we're collecting leads, and this is actually updated for 2024. So basically from Monday, November 4th up until our actual sale. And now the actual sale you'll see here starts early. Okay, so this sale is actually starting 1 week before Black Friday itself. And now the reason why we're doing that is because we essentially want to have like a pre-Black Friday before the actual Black Friday itself on the 29th, and ultimately see a big boom and a big uptick from people purchasing on the 22nd, the 23rd, and 24th, all the way up until the actual Black Friday, which is when again we'll have another big boom. And for this brand in particular, last year, that absolutely crushed. Now, with that said, you do not have to do this on the Friday before. We have a lot of our brands actually starting on the Monday. So the Monday would be the 25th. Or if you honestly just want to hold out all the way until Friday, November the 29th, that is also okay. Just know that whatever offer that you launch early needs to be your best offer. Okay. If you have an offer that is 25% off, and then you go here and on the 29th, you bump it to 30% off, you're definitely going to kind of annoy a few customers, and it's typically not best practice to do that. So whatever your offer is, you can either start it on the Friday, the Monday or Black Friday itself. Just make sure that your offer is your best offer and you stick with it all the way through. Now from there, what you'll notice is that there is a Black Friday VIP sale that is supposed to go live on the 28th. However, for this client in particular, it would actually be going live on the 20th. And so the 20th would be a Wednesday. And as you can see here, as I update the sheet, this sale will essentially happen before your main Black Friday sale. And now this VIP sale is going to be specifically for everyone that signed up for your lead gen campaign. So again, if you're running native Facebook ads to collect leads and then emailed your list to say sign up for our VIP list, then this is who would receive this email and all of these SMS messages in order to actually come and buy the product. Now for this client in particular that did over $700,000, we actually ended up doing a custom landing page for them as well, where we had special offers. And on that page, we essentially just had 3 specific bundles for their products that were very simple and easy to put together. And we sent the VIPs to that page. And then they also had an option to get early access to our core Black Friday sale that would be open to the public on Friday, November 22nd, or essentially 2 days later. And so when you do things this way, we'll get a spike on the first Wednesday, and then you will get another little spike on the Thursday. And then of course, when you make your Black Friday sale public, you will also get another massive spike there as well. And by having those 3 spikes, it really helps you generate a ton of extra revenue and also allow you to start scaling your ads way more aggressively. The reason why we typically start our Black Friday sale either on the Friday before Black Friday or the Monday the week of is it gives our team time to really ramp up our Facebook ads. Which again, if you stay watching through this video, I'm actually going to show you the exact surf scaling sheet that we use to scale our clients further. But going back to this document here, the most important thing is that you understand that BFCM is obviously going to be the biggest 4-day period, but it's important that you have ads that are scaling up and you have an idea of how well your offer is doing during the VIP sale and the pre-Black Friday sale, because if this absolutely flops, you can then pivot to maybe do a more aggressive offer or slightly adjust it. Now, speaking of offers, if you have not seen the video that I dropped a few weeks ago around Black Friday offers, make sure you go and check out that video. I'm going to attach a link to it down below because I'm going to leave offers out of this. With that said, for this client in particular, we did a very, very simple offer. It was save 25% off, and then we also had a save up to percentage off for their bundles as well. So if you do have a product that you are currently bundling, make sure you continue to discount those bundles because it can make those discounts be extremely juicy and ultimately lead to higher average order values as well, which was a huge part of scaling this brand. But again, if you want more information on offers, make sure you click the link down below. Now, finally, after you've made it through the BFCM weekend, you essentially have 2 options. Option number 1 is to run more of a Cyber Week sale where you just continue to let your Cyber Monday and BFCM ads cruise all the way through. Now, this year, it's a little bit weird since Black Friday is super late. So what we're doing for most of our clients is actually starting a holiday sale on December 3rd. But for the sake of Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend in particular, that is what we did in the preparation period up here to make sure that we had leads, we had our VIP sale, we had our pre-Black Friday sale to test our offers and scale up our ads is ultimately what made that 4-day period as strong as possible. Now, when it comes to what we actually did to scale the brand, right? Because to do over $200,000 a day in sales, you definitely have to have a pretty good strategy when it comes to managing ad accounts. And so what we actually did is we built a custom sheet for our clients and we were tracking our performance every 2 hours. Now, if you want to know what we're doing this year, for most of our clients, we're probably looking more at around 4 to 6 or 8 hour windows because 2 hours was pretty extreme. I'd say the only time we really needed the 2 hour window was on Black Friday itself. But what I'm about to show you in this sheet is how to spend as much as you possibly can, especially if performance is hitting your KPI. One of the main things that we see a lot of brands do during Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend is significantly underspend what they could be spending. But at the end of the day, this sheet will help you do a little something called surf scaling. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So as you can see, this sheet might be confusing to some, but the main thing here is that we are basically tracking our performance every time period to know what is actually actually going on in the account and whether or not we can scale. So two super important things for you to know when you're surf scaling is number one, what your current time zone is. So for me, I am in the Pacific Standard Time Zone, and the ad account for this client in particular was in the Central Standard Time Zone. So the reason why the end of day is at 10 p.m. for me is because if I was scaling based off of the 12 a.m. or trying to reset budgets at midnight my time, I would have actually fully messed up the account. And when you're surf scaling, resetting budgets is super important because there will be times where you're telling Facebook to spend $100,000 a day and it's only going to spend basically 40 or 50 because you've scaled so hard throughout the day. But if you do not reset those budgets, you could be in a world of hurt. So what this sheet basically helps you do is it helps you track the things that we care most about, which is Shopify revenue, Meta ad spend, and then other spend. For this client in particular, they are heavily spending on Facebook ads. And so that is what most of our focus and surf scaling was done on. That said, what we do here is every 2 hours, we will simply go into the ad account. We will copy how much we spent. We will copy how much revenue was reported. And then we will go into Shopify and we will copy how much sales we have here as well. So to give you an example, let's just go back to the sheet and say that it's midnight. Okay, it's 12 a.m. and I'm going to log into Facebook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy how much we have spent. So if we had spent $837, I would simply put that in the Meta spend column, not the Meta revenue. Then I would scroll to the right and I would look at how much purchase conversion value has been reported. So I would copy this and this would say $29.50. So I would go into the sheet and I would paste that. And then for the sake of just a random number, let's say on Google and all of our other platforms, we had spent $200. I would put $200 there. And let's say the Shopify total revenue is at, I don't know, $6,000 in total. Okay. What this is going to tell us is that so far to start the day, we are at a 3.52x return on ad spend, and our blended return on ad spend is a 5.79. Now, where this sheet gets magical is now let's just fast forward and say, okay, now it's 2 a.m. And for the sake of this example, again, you would just come back into the account. So if I refresh, you can see this is going to update to 842 because it's actively spending money. So now if I go into the sheet and I paste again 842 in the Meta column, what you'll notice is that it's showing that just actually over the last few minutes here, I spent $5 additional on Meta during this period. Now, obviously I waited 1 minute, but as you can imagine, over 2 hours, you would probably spend a significant amount. So if we scroll up here, you can see that's exactly what this sheet was tracking for us during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And so if we take a look at this here, you can see from basically midnight till 12 a.m. or for this client in their time zone, it was midnight into 2 a.m. But keep in mind, this is PST and this is Central Time. If we actually go to a sheet that has the same time zone, then obviously midnight here would be midnight and then 4 a.m. would be 4 hours later. And this sheet, just to give you context, is a 4-hour scaling sheet, which is what we gave to all of our students in the Evolve program, which as a reminder, if you want custom sheets like this, make sure to check out our Evolve program linked down below. This upcoming Q4 is going to be crazy. That community is awesome, and with over 60 plus multiple 6, 7, and some even 8-figure brand owners in there, it's definitely a community you don't want to miss out on. So if you want more information on that, make sure you check out Evolve by clicking the link down below. Now with that said, in this 4-hour scaling sheet, as you can see in this example, from midnight till 4 a.m., we had done $3,000 in revenue. Meta had reported $3,000 basically in revenue. We had spent $1,600 on ads or on Facebook and $328 on other. And now during this period, you can see we had a 1.99 return on ad spend inside of Meta and a 1.69x return on ad spend on a blended level. So that 4-hour period was really not good. And now if we go to this next period here, you can see in total, we jumped up to $9,000 in sales, $5,000 reported revenue on Meta. We had $4,000 spent on Facebook ads and $800 spent on other platforms. And now again, this is in total. So what this will show on the left-hand side is how much additional was added during this period. So from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., we had an additional $2,000 in revenue, $5,000 on Shopify revenue, $3,000 in total ad spend, because again, it's collecting the difference between these. And our return on ad spend during this period was again, really not good. And so what this allows us to do when it comes to actual surf scaling come Black Friday, Cyber Monday is to know, hey, for these last 2 periods, we were really not doing good. So we should probably scale down. And so for some of our brands, we will do that. For other brands, we won't. We'll just kind of keep it running because we know that during usually the later hours, performance will get better. But it is super important for you to understand that while you're going through this process and while you're essentially scaling your account throughout the day, you have to know what performance is. And if you're just looking inside of Facebook, it can be really hard to understand that. And so what this sheet allows you to do is basically break up the spend and the revenue for each period, so that way you can make a decision on whether or not you're actually going to scale. Now, if we scroll down, you can see this was actual Black Friday last year, but if you take a look, you can see that we actually surf scaled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times and then scaled one final time, so 6 total, before we actually reset the budget. And so this is what I really want to talk about here, because this is what makes scaling to $700,000 plus during that 4-day period actually possible, is because we are being aggressive with budgets. So as you can see here, we scaled our campaign at 4 a.m. by 50% to a total of 15K per day. Then 2 hours later, we scaled the campaign again by another 50%. And you can see that our return on ad spend was looking really good. We then, after those 2 pretty big jumps, we had 2 periods here of just standard performance where we did nothing. But then again, after this period, we noticed things were good. So we scaled by another 20%. And then again, we had another great period. So we scaled the main campaign by another 50%. We scaled the Canadian campaign by 20%. The next period, we scaled the main campaign again by 50%. I actually ended up, by the end of the day, scaling our main campaign to a budget of spending over $33,000. And ultimately, that day in particular, we were actually able to spend in total around $40,000. But now, if you look and we go back into the actual sheet here, at midnight, as soon as the day ended, and again, you have to do this right at midnight. So once the ad account basically resets for the next day, you need to make sure that you go in and reset budgets. And so in this instance here, you could see that during that scale, I had scaled up the campaign from $27,000 a day in budget to $33,000 a day in budget. But if we actually go into how much it spent, it only spent $16,000. And so that's part of surf scaling, where you're only going to be able to get Facebook to spend so much. However, if you have a brand new day and you have your budget set at $33,000, Meta is going to start cranking budget to spend that as much as it can. Because again, Meta wants your money, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we reset the budget. And so when it comes to our actual reset, what you'll notice here is that I reset both the campaigns back to $15,000 per day in spend. So I had initially had the budget at 33, but because we had spent $16,000 on that day, I then went back and reset it to basically what it spent the previous day. But for the sake of this video, without it getting too technical, that is essentially what we did to scale. We just reset the budget back to what it was, or basically back to what it had spent that day. And then as a result of doing that, you can see the following day, we were actually able to spend even more, because we then had the budget starting at a higher amount, and we were again more aggressively scaling the campaigns as we go. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, do you need to check your ad account every 2 hours if you're spending $2,000 a day? Probably not, okay? But in the instance of this client, we were already spending around $10,000 a day, and we had really big goals to try to spend up to $50,000 per day with them during this period. And so that's exactly what we did. Okay. Now, even in this scenario, if I was to do this again this year, what I would recommend doing is just tracking it every 4 hours. I think every 2 hours is a little excessive. That said, if you're in the ballpark of spending 6 figures plus per day, you could probably check it every 2 hours. And to be honest, there are some bigger brands out there that actually check it every hour. So with all that said, there you have it. That's exactly how we scaled this brand to over $700,000 in total sales during Black Friday, Cyber Monday in 2023. And just so you know, our goal this year is to actually do triple that. We're going to try to do 2.1 million with them this year during Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend. So I'll definitely make sure I keep you all in the loop with how that goes. Now, with that said, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Spencer, there's no way my brand can actually achieve results like that. And my honest answer would be, it really depends. It depends on whether or not you're wanting to try to learn how to do all of this and scale your brand yourself during one of the busiest times of the year, or if you want to just bring on a team to help you do this. And hopefully that's where we come in. There's obviously only so much that I can share, and there's only so much that I can do to help you through a YouTube video without actually taking the time to look into your business, understand what's going on, and basically find out where you're at and where you're trying to go. But whether you need help crafting high converting ad creatives during this time of year, or you need strategies to help you optimize your website for the sales that you're going to be running, or you actually need someone to come into your ad accounts and know how to scale and actually spend the amount that you want to spend to hit your goals and meet your projections, I would love to serve as a resource to either help you do it with our team at the agency or just as a consultant one-on-one in your business through our Evolve community. Either way, what I'd recommend is that you click the link down in the description down below to head over to easymedia.com. And if you like what you see, just fill out the application form on our website. And if you meet our specific minimums, you can find a time to speak with me one-on-one where I can then take a deeper look at your brand, identify the biggest areas of opportunity, and show you exactly how to generate results like we did for this client in 2024. With that said, with Black Friday coming up, we are officially closing any new clients come November 1st. So if you do want to work with us, you have to try to get in before November 1st because we are a client-focused agency. We do not take on new clients during this period because there's just too much going on. So if you are interested, now was kind of the final call for you to come and work one-on-one with our team. With that said, if you are interested in more of a consultation basis and you want to just learn our strategies and get access to everything that I showed you here, Evolve will remain open. And honestly, that community has been incredible and the results that we've been getting there are amazing. But with all that said, I'm hoping this video is going to help you make Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend a massive success for your business, no matter what you decide. And if you made it this far to this video, again, if you want to work with myself or my team, make sure you click the link down below and I'll see you on call.